Atlantic City, not just the gambling mecca of America's East Coast, but now vying with Las Vegas as the boxing capital of the world and the glitzy venue for the richest ring event in history. We bid you welcome to this cavernous convention center for Iron Mike Tyson versus Michael Spinks, a record-breaking confrontation between two unbeaten heavyweight champions. Jack Nicholson and Warren Beatty had a cavalcade of noteworthy personalities from the worlds of show business, television and sport. Muhammad Ali was accorded a phenomenal welcome. And our own Frank Bruno will be watching with particular interest to see Iron Mike Tyson defend his undisputed world title and a remarkable unbeaten 34-fight record, accepting the challenge of Michael Spinks, the man who calls himself the people's champion, but nonetheless a 4-1 underdog. This capacity crowd is guaranteed a $13 million gate receipt record. Win or lose, Mike Tyson will take home a staggering $23 million, and Michael Spinks a cool $13.5 million. Well, this is the richest sporting event ever, and it's been beamed all over the world. It's the biggest heavyweight attraction since Ali Frazier 17 years ago. So why don't you settle down and enjoy this fight of a decade, described for you now by the former world lightweight champion Jim Watt, and leading off our commentator Reg Guttridge.
And the music is as high as they can play it. I think as he comes in, he's got a good chance of being deafened as he hits this music. That is some long walk he's got there, Jim.
Yeah, it's going to take as long again to get him to the ring, I think. He looks pretty relaxed. His eyes look pretty calm, and he's got things to say, which is a good sign, I suppose. I don't know who is he speaking to, but he's got something to say. His eyes are looking cool, calm, and waving to the crowd, yep.
Well, and right behind him is the 77-year-old Eddie Futch, trainer, and he's had some great fighters in his time, a good strategist. And as he says, when Sugar Ray Leonard fought Hagler, they called it boxing, but if my man moves like that, they'll call it running. But if it's going to work, we think we can do it. We've got the strategy to beat Tyson. And that music is really thumping out now as Spinks comes down the aisles and the crowd realise he's finally into the arena. He promises to be all business in there tonight. Well, if he doesn't, I tell you, he's no business in there. He looks a bit relieved that he's made it to the ring without any problems there. I wondered if he was late coming in. And there's the rundown of his record, of course, undefeated, mostly as a light heavyweight. And there he is, the bare-backed as usual, and the famous 19 3/4 inch neck. A man from the Times where he says, well, it looks a bit like the oval gasometer, and he's right. It looks big enough to fight any lightweights, his neck, doesn't it? What a procession this is to bring in now boxing's torch carrier, isn't he? We wonder whether these outside distractions, marriage, mother-in-law, manager, is going to harm him at all. But he says boxing's my obsession and I'm a warrior. And I tell you what, I don't disbelieve him. He's got no noticeable occupational fear at all. He says, well, fear's a beast that's got to be controlled, and I can do that. As he pushes his way through there, he really does sweat like a horse, this incredible man who's not 22 until Thursday. Well, not 97 days, can you imagine that? It doesn't bother him too much. It's just last week as far as he's concerned. And finally, the whole crowd can see him, the people in what they call the bleachers up here, the balconies at $100 a throw, as Mike's record. 15 of those in the first round. So the action is about to start, and we'll be right back.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, once and for all, let's get ready to rumble 12 rounds for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship of the world. Let's go, let's go.
So at long last, the ring's cleared, and we can get on with it. Let's go, says Frank Nicotino. Again, there seems to be this mild horror now. Incredible rise of the crowd. That's the pattern, is it? Tyson's going to get straight after him. He's not going to hang around there. And he caught him with the elbow as well there. And the referee spotted it. Forearm, anyway. Spinks won't be able to stand early on anyway and punch it out with him. He's got to get on the move. That's sensible. Oh, the right hand planted in there. He's not going for another one-round winner. See, I can't believe this, Mike Tyson. It'll be 16 if he makes it. He doesn't lark about, this man. Right above us here as the timekeeper's yelling the count there, and he gets a standing 8 count by Cappuccino. The crowd are going crazy. As much as they paid vast sums to come here with a one, and he's knocked him out. His head's right above us, and he looks as though he's almost unconscious. And they're not going to get him back up at all there. They're really not. What, this man, Tyson, totally unstoppable. Incredible champion, and he says he's only 50% of what he thinks he's going to be. And I must say, I always thought he could walk right in and through Michael Spinks, but no way did I think it'd be as quick as that.
Well, the writing was on the wall in the first knockdown, but that was the second knockdown. The punch caught him high. Tyson got his shoulder behind the punch, and as soon as he went down, the way he went down and the way he just lay there, we knew he wasn't getting up again.
All those millions of dollars for a minute and a half's work, and I know what people are saying, well, I wouldn't mind doing that for that money, but I tell you, you wouldn't if you were facing this man. He is just a remarkable champion, Mike Tyson. What a touch that is, Jim. You don't often see Mike Tyson coming in to kiss the man on the... And to be fair to Spinks, he's faced him because he's just had the total humiliation there. Not only his first defeat, but short, sharp, merciless, complete. So Larry Merchant now is going to talk to Tyson.
Mike, congratulations. Did you have any premonition that it would end this fast?
My trainer told me before I left, I bet both of our purses that you knock him out in the first round. So I thought he was serious, because just now he said he was lying. And so I went out and knocked him out in the first round.
What went through your mind when you saw that he was hurt, and then you went in for the finish?
Well, once I knew he was hurt, I knew all my punches were going to be precise and accurate pinpoint, and he wasn't going to survive the round.
It seems that you didn't get over anxious, you were patient, and that you knew that the end was near.
Before I came there, Duran came and visited me. You know what I mean? Duran is my #1 hero, Roberto Duran. And he told me, he said, this guy's made the order for you. You just relax, don't chase him. You have to be calm and relax and punch to the body and throw combinations to the head. And that's what I plan to do, basically. But he knew the strategy, the way to fight him also.
There was some concern because of all of the domestic and managerial chaos before the fight that maybe you would get too anxious.
Well, like I say, I'm a professional. Whatever happens, the job has to be done. Professional fight.
Do you feel that this proves that, like most long-term champions who have problems outside the ring, that you've now put that aside, that you can show that these kinds of things are not going to undermine you?
Well, you know what I mean, like I said, I'm a businessman. When it comes to business, I love fighting. And I mean, regardless of the situations outside of me, we deal with those later. But as far as my career, you know what I mean, there's no fighter like me. I was reading today, there was some fighters in the papers quoting, I don't like Mike Tyson because he's too cocky and he's arrogant. But for all the fighters that said that, you know what I mean, I let them know, there's no fighter like me, and I can beat any man in the world.
Thank you, Mike. And
Brownsville! All right!
All right, for Brownsville, let's go to Ray Leonard, who's with the guy from St. Louis.
Yeah, I've been performing pretty well in the gym, doing extremely well. So I didn't think that the weight would have played a role in it at all.
You know, I can relate to you so well, Mike, because I was knocked down for the first time in my career, and it's a matter of how you're going to react afterwards. When you were knocked down, what thoughts crossed your mind?
Well, to get up. To get up and try to resume fighting if I could. And I was pretty sane. I mean, my faculty was pretty straight. And that's about it. I just wanted to resume fighting and not stay down.
So where do you go from here, Mike? I know it's going to be a while before you make a decision, but where do you go from here? Or can you say?
Well, first, I'll just enjoy the fact that the fight is over. And I'll sit back and see what's next or what's left for me to do in boxing. And I'll let you know, right?
Well, I think all of us thought the favorite would win, but maybe not as briskly as that. 2 years to make the fight, 1 minute and 31 seconds to finish it, and that works out at roughly $15 million a minute. a totally dramatic evening, and there was drama before the fight started. It was held up for 20 minutes. We thought it was because the men were trying to jockey for position as to who should come in last, but in fact it was because Michael Spinks had knots in his glove, and they were trying to get those out and put the plaster back on again. It took 20 minutes anyway. After the fight, both men were confronted by the press at a really quite chaotic press conference.
My trainer told me, I have some news to tell you. It's either good or bad. It depends on you. I took the money that both of our purse, and I bet it that you knock him out in the first round. And I didn't know if he was fooling or not, because I know he liked to gamble. And I'm saying, did he really do this? And when the fight was over, I said, where's the $45 million? He said, I was only kidding.
This is a heavyweight champion of the world. Everyone wants a piece of him.
After this fight, and I wasn't really appreciative of what you guys, quote, the reporters did to me. Building up to this fight, you tried to embarrass me, you tried to embarrass my family, you tried to disgrace us. And as far as I know, this might be my last fight.
Maybe I was a little anxious, but I came to fight like I said I would. Everybody wondered, was I going to run and make it such a boring fight? He hit me with a good shot earlier against the ropes, and I thought I'd take time out to get myself together and come back for a second try. And I thought after getting hurt with a shot that he would try to press me. So I thought I'd catch him coming in, and instead I shot my load, and he stepped back and caught me with a good shot, and that's what stopped the fight.
And so now the world's press are filing their stories, and there could be some very surprising headlines in the morning. Listening to that press conference, and now with us, the #1 contender, Frank Bruno. Frank, were you surprised at Mike Tyson's statement that this could be his last fight?
I wasn't too surprised, because a lot of press has been on his back about his wife, his family. He was expecting a baby in September, and that baby's gone with the pressure of everything what's gone on, and that's affected him a lot. So he said that so the press can get off his back, so he can go home and suss out and rethink what is going to go on.
But do you think when he gets away from this atmosphere, he'll come back to realize that September the 3rd is a good idea?
It's a difficult thing, because now he's got $20 million richer than what he had before, so he may go home and say, is it all worth it? You know what I mean? Maybe retire, I'm not too sure. I'm not Mike Tyson. If I was, I could answer that question, Dickie.
Well, I gather the tickets for your fight are already printed. They go on sale around about the 5th of July. I know you don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that.
But we do know that fight with you is a mandatory fight.
Yeah, he's got a fight.
The WBA and the WBC insist that it should happen.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's unless he retires, of course.
Yeah, you can never know, you know, because he's got so much money now. He's richer than even you, Dickie, you know. So I'm not too sure what he would do.
Well, now, if you fight him, Frank, do you think you can improve on Mike Spinks' performance tonight?
It's difficult. I was talking to Hurricane Hadley and Oliver McCall, who came over to England to help me prepare for my fights, you know, and we came to the conclusion. We had a little press conference between ourselves, and he said he was going to steamroll him. That's exactly what he done, was go in there and steamroll him.
Michael Spinks said before the fight that he was frightened of Tyson. Are you frightened of Tyson?
I'm not frightened. If I was frightened of it, Dickie, I wouldn't be talking to you now. I'd be running into the toilet, and I would lock myself in there, and I wouldn't come out. You know, if I was frightened, I wouldn't be talking like this. You know, a lot of people may think I'm mad or whatever, but I've got the inner confidence. I know I've got the power. I've grown up. I'm a man now, and I feel much more confident mentally as well as physically. So I'm going in there confident. If I anyhow, but the build-up before the fight, I get scared. I won't go in there, Dickie.
So what do you say to the people who would say that the fight between you and Michael Tyson is a mismatch?
It's crazy, you know what I mean, because everybody's entitled to do what they want in life, you know what I mean. I'm #1 contender, and I'm going in there to do a good job. I don't really need to have to go in there to fight, because I can duck and dive, and I can make a living here and there like yourself, like you're making a living. So I don't really need 100% to go in there boxing. I know I've sparred with Tyson. I know him better than any other boxer has been in the ring with him. You know what I mean? So I think I've got the power, and I know I've got the power to beat him, Dickie. And I'm not being mad or nothing. I've not got a sunstroke or nothing like that. I haven't got sunburn or nothing. Maybe I've got a touch-up.
We all wish you well. We all hope that fight actually takes place. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Cheers, thank you.
And so the last word from Jim Watt. Jim, do you think that fight will happen?
I think the fight will happen, yes. I think Tyson's had a lot of personal problems. He hasn't had the time to deal with those problems, and he wants some time to do that. But This is a mandatory defence. If he had a choice, he wouldn't box in September, but if he doesn't box, then there's the threat of having his title stripped. He loves being champion too much to do that, or let that happen, so I'm sure the fight will go ahead.
Let's go back to tonight's fight. Michael Spinks has been saying he came to fight. That's exactly what he did. One has to be skeptical about that. Do you think that's the case?
I don't think so. I think the event was just far too much for him. I think he was intimidated, as most of Tyson's opponents are. The fact that there was so little sign of life from him before the actual fight started, he didn't even take his dressing gown off until the very last second. I don't really think he came to fight. I think in his mind he wanted to fight, but just couldn't cope with the situation.
Well, back here in Britain, that fight's already been described as the most expensive mismatch in boxing history. I strongly disagree with that, because Michael Spinks had by far the best credentials of all the fighters who've met Mike Tyson. He went the same way, only a lot quicker. And that gives us a chance